Here we are, lesson 5 in our course on journeying with the plant spirits. And in this particular lesson, we are going to add to the foundation that we've already crafted. You already know now how to sit with the plant spirits, how to connect with them, how to move and follow and journey within and without by following the medicine, by listening to the way the plant spirits teach you from within using your own language symbols. But there are things we can add to enrich this practice to make it deeper. And in this particular lesson, one of my favorites, we're going to talk about creating altars, shrines, and making offerings to the plant spirits. Why would we want to do this? First and foremost, because we want to enter into sacred reciprocity with our plant allies, that we do not want to be takers only, right? We don't want to show up and ask to be taught, to be guided, to be initiated, to be protected, to be healed, to be transformed, and then walk away, right? This is not sacred reciprocity. It's not a good way to treat our spiritual allies, and it is not a good way to participate in the wellness of the cosmos, right? In order for us to participate in things being harmonious and to contribute to the constant recreation of the cosmos through ritual, we have to give as much as we are given. So to create an altar, a shrine, and to make offerings to the plant spirits, and specific to plant spirits, all is a way for us to show up and return some of the energy, some of the love, some of the blessings that have been gifted to us by our green benefactors. So how do we do this? When do we do it? Let's talk about that now. It's very simple. It needs to be intuitive. If there's one thing that I want you to take away from this particular lesson, it is that if it feels right for you, it's probably right. Whatever we do when it comes to making offerings to the plant spirits, creating sacred space for them and with them, should feel right. It should feel good to you. It should feel meaningful. It should feel relevant to who you are as a person, to what your relationship with the plant spirits are. And if it does, you are probably on the right path. So keep that in mind. No matter how complicated we make this, you can come back to that simple thing. So altars and shrines, this is a way for us to set aside space in our lives to focus on nourishing our relationship with the plant spirits. So when we create an altar, we're essentially saying, I set this space aside for the presence of this plant spirit to occupy more profound space in my life. And there's obviously that literal sacrifice of space, whether it's, a little square on top of a bookcase or a section of a current altar that you already keep, or an area in your garden or whatever. You are sacrificing or setting aside part of your life, part of your physical space to honor the plant spirits. There's that aspect of it. There's also a more subtle psychological sympathetic aspect, which is that when we kind of carve out space in our physical world to honor the plant spirits or different deities we work with or ancestors, that makes a link with our internal world, and we actually then create space internally for that work. So what we do externally is reflected internally. So when you craft an altar or a shrine, you are also opening up more space within for the work to unfold, which is why this is very important when we do our plant spirit journeys, when we do our dedications, however many days, however many plants, because it creates more space for the work to happen. And that's always a good thing. So setting up an altar should be very intuitive, it should be very beautiful, and it should be very harmonious. And that's really it. This could be as simple as a dish with dried leaves from the plant spirit you're working with, or a small glass container filled with dried material. It could be an artistic expression where you paint or sketch a drawing of the plant and keep that as your focal, or maybe have a bundle of branches or a dried root from that plant. Maybe you're really, really crafty and you can work with clay to sculpt something. it doesn't matter. You really just need some representation of the plant spirit to act as a gateway, as a crossroads, as a liminal point during your work. If you have access to this plant as they grow outside in a safe place for you, maybe you set up a small flat stone, and instead of bringing a symbol or an icon of the plant spirit into your altar, you bring an altar to the plant spirit as they grow. So either one of those things are totally acceptable. And the idea is that we are creating a seat of honor. We're creating a vessel or a house where we can invite or invoke the plant spirit to come take up temporary residency while we honor them and dedicate to them and connect with them through our plant spirit journeys. So again, there is no right way. This should be intuitive. It should make sense to you. If you already keep an altar or a shrine, I really love sort of working this into my established sacred space. If that's not something you do, carve out a little area on a bookshelf or on an end table or whatever where you can put down a piece of cloth or some fiber or a vessel that acts as a focal point for your work. One thing that I do like to keep present always is a candle that I can light during my daily meditations when I take and follow my medicine. If I'm taking some of that plant internally with a tincture or an essence, that candle acts as a beacon, a fire of reciprocity, a fire of hospitality, that when I light that candle, it's an invitation for the plant spirit to join me. It's a cue to my mind and my senses to be fully engaged in the process at hand. The candle is both a means by which we invoke the plant spirit and an offering of energy to them. So that's nice. Anything additional that you want to add, totally up to you. You have total creative license. Again, if it feels good, if it flows good, it's probably good. So follow the goodness, follow the harmony. When it comes to making offerings, we also like to be very intuitive. You can make offerings daily to the plant spirit you're working with. You can make offerings on the first day, the full moon, and the last day. You can make offerings just at the full moon, the day when you're taking your largest dose. Again, no right, no wrong. I personally, when I sit with a plant spirit for a full 29-day journey, I do make an offering to them every single day. Generally, that is in the form of pouring a small glass of clean water for them and lighting that candle. So I'm really just pouring a libation of water for them, lighting the candle, giving something from my world to theirs in service, and then creating that cycle of reciprocity. You similarly could offer a pinch of grains or some dried flowers, some botanical incense, a tare of bread, a libation of whiskey or wine, totally up to you. And what you can consider too is maybe making a special offering on the full moon at the peak of your journey, and then maybe a special offering at the last day to really express all of the gratitude, the specific gratitudes that you now have for this plant spirit for what they've given you during your journey with them. So offerings are a way for us to participate in sacred reciprocity, to give a gift to the plant spirit, to acknowledge all that they're giving to us, the things we understand and the things we do not understand, to keep that flow, to keep that harmonious sacred reciprocity cycle moving so that we can be in a dynamic evolutionary relationship with the plant spirits all. And do remember, they tell their friends, right? So as we work with one plant after another, month after month, we find that the sits, the journeys, become more and more powerful, more and more deep, more easy, more fluid, because the plant spirits start to recognize us as someone who takes the work seriously and gives as much as we receive. So this is very important. You may consider over time, as you've done several sits and maybe connected more deeply to certain plant spirits, of creating a plant spirit shrine, which is a space that is officially set aside for the plant spirits all, and it does not get taken down. It's not undone at the end of the month, at the end of your journey. It is a space where you can honor all of the different plant spirits that you work with. Again, maybe creating little spirit vessels, or keeping some dried plant material in jars, or doing pictures or whatever, as a way to create your own sacred grove, your own little temple of the plant spirits that you work with. And then once a month or once a week or once a day, you can light a candle and maybe offer some incense or a libation to the plant spirits, to all of these beautiful verdant allies that you have created a personal relationship with, that are watching you, that are teaching you, that are bringing you magic and medicine. So the creation of altars, of shrines, and the giving of offerings to create space within us to receive more blessings from the plant spirits is a crucial part of green sorcery, the crucial part of all expression of paganisms. And it is easily one of the most powerful ways to take your work with the plant spirits to the next level. When we start giving to them, things get really serious. Ways are opened, obstacles are removed, and we find that the ways the plant spirits can work through our life become much stronger. So I highly encourage you to do this. Be intentional about it. Do it from the heart. Do what feels right to you and makes sense to you as a person, and everything will be harmonious.